If you've been wondering where the leaks for the Pixel Fold 2 have been, well, they appear like they may be starting up. I must admit, it was a little bit concerning, a little bit strange, given how leak-heavy Google is with their Pixel devices, that we had not heard more about a Pixel Fold 2. You start to wonder, is one indeed coming? Well, it appears as though if you're waiting on those leaks, the time is now. We have this article on AndroidAuthority.com from, guess who, Michal Rahman, and this says Pixel Fold 2 might skip the Tensor G3 and add more RAM. Now, at the end of this video, please, 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 click on the link in the description, go to this article, look at some ads, and give them a hit for the reporting that Michal has done here. First things first, Pixel Fold 2 might be skipping the Tensor G3. That's the one that's in the Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro. And instead, they're going to jump all the way to the next gen Tensor G4. So Michal writes here, a source who wishes to remain anonymous reached out to them and told them that Google has been testing the Pixel Fold 2 internally for the last couple of months. They go on to say earlier prototypes were using the Tensor G3, which is codenamed Zuma, but more recent prototypes are using Zuma Pro, which is the Tensor G4. Of course, the G3 to the G4 is not some massive, massive leap. Zuma to Zuma Pro, I think, kind of gives you an idea of what's going on there. This isn't like a fully new code name, and perhaps there's reason behind that, but still, it would be that next processor. Michal does point out something really important here. For the record, early versions of the Pixel tablet was running the original Tensor, but of course it shipped with the G2 instead. It's possible that they've got the G3s laying around. That's what they were building it with, but once it ships, they're going to put the G4 inside. For future reference, codename is indeed Comet. We've heard that in the past. Michal seems to be sort of confirming that here. Now, one of these side tangents that we have to think about in regard to making this shift would be the timing of the release. Just like Samsung has done with the Galaxy Z Fold and Z Flip devices, the Pixel Fold was a mid-step release. You get the Pixel, mainline device, which is their flagship. Something like 6 or 8 months later, we got the Fold. Something like 4 or 5, 6 months later, we get the next Pixel flagship. That's how things have gone. That's how it's always worked with the Samsung devices as well. The S22 Ultra came out with the newest processor. The Z Fold, which I don't remember the time, whichever next Z Fold it was, came out with the same processor as the S series. Then the new S series came out with the new processor. Then the next Z Fold had the same processor as that one. You see what I'm saying? That's been how it's worked with foldables so far. If they launch the Pixel Fold with the G4, one of two things must happen. Option number one is Google pulls a Surface Duo and just skips a year, right? They just don't release anything for a year. And hopefully at the end of that year, they do in fact release the Fold 2. I don't think that's going to happen though, because we've already got these prototypes and so forth floating around. The more likely scenario is that the Pixel Fold launches alongside the Pixel 9 and 9 Pro, which will be also running that G4 chipset. Now, there's often been sort of theorized reasons why neither Google nor Samsung does this, and you would assume that it's because you don't want your phones competing with each other, right? Does the Pixel Fold 2 take some sales from the Pixel 9 Pro? Do you want to launch 3 phones all at one time? Maybe you don't, maybe you do. Maybe now Google has decided that's what they want to do, and maybe the reason they're doing this is so that you don't wind up in this situation that they are in now, where the Fold has the G2, the Pixel 8 has the G3, and so the Pixel 8 has features that, let's be honest, that the Pixel Fold could run, but if they brought those features to the Pixel Fold, well, hey, it's running the same processor as the Pixel 7, so then they'd have to bring it to the 7 as well, and now there's not a whole lot differentiating the 8 from the 7. This undermines their selling strategy, undermines their marketing. So if we bring the Pixel Fold in line with the Pixel 9, they both have the G4, that problem at least does go away. I do want to stop on this paragraph here where they're talking about the G4. Specifications of the chipset remain a mystery. It's expected to be a modest improvement over the G3, hence the codename Zuma Pro versus Zuma, what I mentioned earlier. And it still will be fabricated by Samsung as opposed to TSMC. So again, this isn't going to be some major leap. It's just going to be more important that it's going to be on the same track now as the Pixel 9. Of course, all of this stuff is still potentially up in the air. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but one more bit of information here. They're told the Pixel Fold 2 is at the beginning of the engineering validation test stage, EVT, which means it's pretty darn far away from mass production. They have the process here: prototype, EVT, DVT, PVT, and then MP. So we are still several stages away from that mass production. And for those of you with a calendar, it is February, which means that May is not that far away, and that is when they would presumably be announcing the Pixel Fold 2. So if that is accurate, it is highly doubtful that they're going to be announcing the Fold 2 here in May to be released in June or July. And if that's true, if this goes by, if the May I.O. event comes and goes and all we get is the Pixel 8a, then we're in line for this rumor being true. The last little bit of this that we need to talk about is just in regard to the RAM. So the Pixel Fold 2, they're saying, is rumored, there's a weird thing going on here, to have 16 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigs of UFS 4.0 storage. So that's 4 more gigs of RAM and faster storage than last year. Both of these things are definitely great to see. And the fact that you've got more RAM is going to help with these AI tasks that, of course, they would be bringing far more of on device with the Pixel 9 and this rumored Pixel Fold 2. Michelle references that weird assistant thing codenamed Pixie, which is basically like a souped up on-device version of Google Assistant, which might be capable of doing multimodal things. So you would bring up the assistant and you would say something like, find a certain shop nearby and then get me their email, and then send them an email asking them a question about a product. Like it could do like a multi-step thing across multiple apps. Theoretically, that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about. This stuff might require more RAM, might require that faster AI focused processor, those NPUs that they're beefing up in the G3, and of course, even more so in the Tensor G4. Now, I do also want to kind of return back to a rumor that we reported on a few months back that stated that the Pixel Fold 2 would be changing the aspect ratio of the screen and kind of abandoning the short nature of the current device. We haven't heard anything further on that. From what I was told, there was an expectation that this was going to be more broadly reported and there'd be more information coming. That seems like it has never happened. I'm hoping, because I like the current aspect ratio, that's because that stuff just has fallen through in some regard. Michelle has not mentioned anything about that in this current article. If I find out any more, I'm going to do a little bit of digging. I'm going to ask around. If I hear anything, of course, I'll be bringing that stuff to you guys as well. So guys, that's where we are now with the Pixel Fold 2. Potentially going to be pushed back a little bit longer. If you already owned the Fold 1, you might have another extra 6 months on the end. So rather than getting a new Fold in a year, it might be 18 months as we wait for the Pixel 9 to be released. If everything stays lined up the same, expect sometime in October for, I guess, Pixel 9, 9 Pro, as well as a Pixel Fold 2. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this. I think universally, people are going to be okay with this. They're probably very excited about this. The idea that, like, let's push the Fold 2 back a couple of months and just release it with the Pixel 9. And if it cannibalizes some sales, it cannibalizes some sales, but we get rid of the current problem that we have where the Pixel Fold kind of feels a bit like a second-class citizen because it's on the G2 and the Pixel 9 is on the G3. I feel like everybody's just going to be really, really on board with this. And even people like me that have the Fold 1, that just means 6 more months or whatever it is, extra time before I have to drop money to buy a Pixel Fold 2. But again, let me know what you think in those comments down below. I want to remind you again, click on the link to the article. Please go to the article, go read it. There's some things that I probably left out. Maybe I left them out intentionally so that you would have good reason to go there and read the article and, like I said, view some ads for them and give them some payback for the great reporting that Michelle is doing. As always, subscribe for more content just like this. I'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.